good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Welcome back to Travelers with Bennett and iSelf Academy YouTube channel. Today we are about to go for the final set of videos where we are going to work with module number 6. In our module number 6, we have seen this data set already once. We don't have anything new on this point. But here I'm going to introduce to you on table calculation. And we will even see how we're going to work with the parameters as a data set. So how do we use a parameter data set, and then how we're going to work on other dimensions. We see all of them yet. Again, this data set is something which we have already done once. So in our video number 6, we saw this. And then again, I will reiterate this from scratch again, so that by that way people will understand better. And I want to showcase the data first, and then I can start working on the data set a little bit as we go forward. So today we're going to go and use one of the data set that is a CSV file. In the CSV file, we have information like a customer data set here, and then we're going to see how the customer segmentation dashboard can be taken. We've already done this. I'm improvising this a little bit better than what we have done earlier, because this time around we are going to learn few more logics which makes our data presentation a little better. The logic that I'm going to add in our data set this time around is I'm going to add the logic called table calculation. This is a part of our list. We'll see how we can build this up. We already saw how to create a bit anyway. I'm going to just reiterate that one more time, and then we'll see how we're going to use a parameter here, how powerful a parameter can be. Then we come back to the advanced series of Tableau, which I intend to release by the first week of next month. Those who are not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe it, so you get all your basic learning videos today. So we'll start from the scratch on the entire data set, and we are about to deal with around 14 to 15 videos in this list. I'm trying to bring all the data set in one part. When the video is too bigger, if it goes beyond 20 minutes time, then I break them into two. Most of my videos touches 19.5 minutes and more. Actually more than that, then we can handle it once every video. So I showed you the data set that I'm going to bring in here. So let's go back to our list, and then I recreate the same logic. This is what the dashboard that I've created earlier, where we created a map, and then we started creating all these dimensions here. I never used the filter option here. I just showed you the dashboard with all the data dimension that I want to see here. And if you want to make this data all visible to you, then you can just convert the size to automatic here. By that way, we can see the entire data set better here. If you are not going to see this in this way, if you want to send them as a presentation here, you can do that by just going to a presentation presenter view. By that way, you can showcase the complete data set better. Again, my data set is a little taller here, so that's the reason why I'm not able to see all of them. So let me just adjust this data set a little smaller here, so that by that way my data set will be in the perfect dimensions here, so that I can send the data set the new word. So this is where our segmentation component comes or takes a better point. And then when I go back to our data set, you can see that yes here, and I would like to change certain degree of dimension that the view, and this will just enter here. So as we did this already once, so I'm going to just start everything at a much faster rate. So I'm going to connect a text file. So you have watched 11 videos, so you know how to connect an Excel or text files in Tableau right now. And then I'm going to go back to our data set and then pick the customer segmentation to time. Automatically you will see the data source list here, and then it shows you whatever data that I'm dealing with, and the data that I have here, the number of fields and the rows that we have here. You can see them all. Again, the first thing first, I would like to change the data point to a proper data set. So if I normally drag the region here, and then if I normally drag the number of customers that I have here by the field given by the system here, then it gives you the number based information for me. It's not going to give you a map. To convert this into a map, I'm going to make the first logic called geographical role here. So to change this, I'll go back to my data set here, and then I'll click that, I'll left click that, and then I'll go to geographical field here. And this is a state and provinces for me. And once I change this to the data set, automatically my map will be enabled. If you want to know more about it, just click the show me button here. Now you can see the map was not enabled here because my field is not geographically or my field is not in geographical code. So when I click this data set again, and I go back to the geographical code, and then change it to a state and province. Voila, you can see that the maps are getting to it automatically. Now when I click this into a filter map, you can see the data set comes in place. Again, when I do deal with this data set, again, I'm working from India, so my system will automatically read the map of India. It doesn't read the map of UK. So I want to just change this unknown field and then edit my locations here. Change this with India to data. When I do that, automatically you can see at the bottom, the data are properly matched here, and then I give an OK. Automatically gives you the data set. Voila, I got my data set. Now, if you want to reduce the height and the width here, you can do that. So now I want to just adjust the height of it and the width here. So now I got my list nicely. And then if you want to differentiate this by a color period, then I can just bring the region into colors here so that I can differentiate the data here. Let me rechange this to a okay. Now the data is in list. I made the color option as a person. Let's I'm going to add the numbers to the label, and when we do that, here we go. We got our list completely worked off in our data set here, and see the data set really fine. Now I got the first list, then I go back and then rename the sheet name here for maps. And the next word that I'm going to add is I'm going to add another sheet here. This time I'm going to bring the gender and the number of people I've mentioned that. Normally this will, when I drag and drop the genders, and you can see all on this gives you a tabular field for me. Then I do a gender here. Now I'm going to convert this into a pie chart, and I can make the pie chart a little bigger or a little smaller, so however way I feel it want it to be. So I'll make it a little taller here and then a little wider. And then if I want to make the size of the data set a little bit, I can go. Normally when we do this, you can change the colors of the dimension also. So I will even use the blue for main and pink for our string name here. And once I get this, normally when I drag and drop the numbers here, it's going to give you a number. But I don't want this to be displayed as a number here. So how do I change this dimension into a field here? So instead of making this as a label and the number, I'm going to just convert this into a table. So when I give a click on the number field or the label field, you can see at the bottom there's a add table calculation. But I'm going to use a quick table calculation here. We can convert into percentage. When you do that, it gives you the list here. If you want to make the data set look better, then you can definitely do that. And then I'm going to go back to the list here again, and I will go to the format, and then in the format part I'm going to go to the percentage and then do the decimals or the equation. That way the data set will look really, really nice. And then if you want to make the data set look of the similar size anywhere, always use the number 12 as your size, and that way the data will be big. When you add the data set in a dashboard, probably it will be readable, and then it's not going to be too hard to work around. So this is how we build our gender on the next list. And I'm going to go for the third part here called, I want to bring the age point here. Again, this is where our data set has to be converted from a measure to a dimension or a dimension to a measure. Now I want to get the age and the balance to be as a field of a dimension or a measure. So when I click the data set of my age, you can convert this into a dimension here. So now the data jumps to the dimension field automatically. All your dimension fields are in blue. These are in our first class. And all your green fields are your measures. So now I'm going to drag the age here and then build the numbers into the play here. Here when I do that, the data set is going to become very different. And then when I use the options here, that's going to give you a different dimension altogether. Let me just add the age one more time by pressing the control button and then adding it to the list here. So now you can see the data set comes in a big way. This gives you a bar for each and every age. And that's going to be a very big logic for me. I don't want that thing to happen that way. So I would like to create a bin here. So how do I create a bin? Once I move the data set to the top, I can click the right hand side dimension age here, and then I can create a bin here. So when I click the bin here, I can set the bin size. I would like to keep the 5 or 10 here. So I'm going to click 10 here, and then give another. That's going to give you a bin fee. Now I replace the age field with the bin here. When I drag and drop the bin field, automatically my data set comes in a beautiful way here. But again, I have the age in the details, so I'm going to remove the age out of the equation, so that way my data set will not be in a different dimension. If you want to make the age splits to be seen in your data set, you can drag the age to the detail board so you can see what's happening, what are the different ages that I have in this list. You can see all of them piled up one on top of the other one. That way you can see the data set really nicely. But again, I'm looking for the consolidation of an age here, not a take-up of an age here. So I'm going to drag out the age of the equation, and then we'll drag the label to the top of the data set. Now I got the number of people that I have here. Again, when I come back to this point, it shows the number by the number of people here. If you want to change this to another dimension or a percentage, you are definitely can do this. Let's see how I'm going to use the percentage compiler for us. Like we did our previous logic, I'm about to do the same point here. So let's come back to our data set, click the drop down in the count, and then go back to the quick table calculation and the percentage token here. Immediately you can see that how much percentage of data set or how much of percentage of people who I have. Again, 40% of my population table lies, or the 40% of my people who are in this data set is in the middle age of 30. If you want to break this age bin to a better point, then I can just come back here and then edit the age bin here. And I can make this as 5 so that you will see a lot of bars here with percentage of total and art and not really change things like that. Now the data are split into multiple points, and then you can make the data set work beautifully. And if you want to change the data set here, I've already given this. I want to make this as percentage of customer here, so you can edit the axis here. And then when I do that, I can create my own dimension of data set here. So you can name the data set according to your list, and you can add the dimension title that you want to see here. So I can just come back at the bottom of the screen, and then I can create my own list here. So instead of saying that percentage of total customer in it and blah blah blah, you convert this into percentage of customers. So when I do that, automatically this will change the data dimension here. So now we can see that the right hand side, and it is taking the specification here. If you want to make the color usage better, then you can bring the numbers of the age into the colors here. That way the colors will be different. If you want to see a double color or a diverged color, then you can just click here, go to the colors here, and then edit the color, and then change the colors to a much more better way. Go to Tabular 20, it does gives you a color better. Or you can just select some different colors here, red and blue, diverge if you can, and they just use the data sets here. So like in dark, you will dark wearing like in the churches, first code. So now I can edit the colors here, and I'm going to just change this to a lot of colorways. So orders, I can just pick up the same color here, but we're going to just tune the colors to a larger one. Okay, the coloring is okay for me here. If you want to change the colors the same dimension, you can do that on this way. Again, the same logic works for me in the other dimension too. I can just come back here, and then I call this as each, and then I'm going to add another data set here. This time around, again, before I do it, I want to just create bins here, because I know that the data set is not going to work for me in that way. And then make all of them in $25,000 bin, and then I drag the bins here, and then bin the number of customers I have in my list. So that's from maybe the list. List. If you want to make this as a lesser dimension, then you can click the bins here and then edit the data set to maybe a 10K slabs here. So it was a 10,000 read. Then after that's going to give you a big list in this data set. And then if you bring the colors into play for the bin, then again the colors are going to give you the list. You can make the colors a little differently. I'm going to just make the highest color better, the lowest color as a different dimension altogether. You can do that by adding the data set here. So now again, if you want to add a border to it, so that's going to showcase the data set a little better. You can add a border if you want to. I will add a black border of it so that it highlights the data then better for me. And this is my balance bin here. Again, I can convert this into a percentage. Just come back to the data set here, and then go to quick table calculation and change this to percentage, and then I can even rename that by going to edit access and change this to percentage of distance. So by that way, the data will look nice, and you can add colors if you want to do differently. You can do that also. So you can add darker color if you feel like doing it. So you can add the darker colors here, and then by that way the colors will vary for you. You can use the data set better, and then you can even add the colors by a specific key. If you don't want to see a null here, you can click this, and then you can filter the data set, and then the null value will go off, and then we can see the data set very clearly here. This is the way we can layer over the data set or balances. And finally, I'm going to add one more data set for us where I'm about to use the job classification. So when I tag them jobs and then the numbers here, normally it gives you a data set like this. For the first time, we are about to use tree map chart. Again, the name doesn't suggest be anything relevant to tree here, but again, you can see the coloration variant that comes in place in a different dimension altogether. Then you can adjust this data set, and then once you adjust the heights and the widths here, that's gonna change the data set better. And if you want to number them, the label part, you can do that. And again, I can change this number valuations to a better list. So I'll come back to the data set and then convert those in quick table calculation, keep this and everything. So now I know that the number of people that we have here, and then I can go back to the format and then remove the data set dimension from the percentage into a 4 value that can compare to the data set that I have in this new value. When you come back here, we will see how we're going to build the data to finish a dashboard and a storyboard analysis. As I'm touching around 60 to 70 minutes in a video, now I want to make this video a very big area one. So we have got done this view this here. This is the way we can build it. We will finalize this with a proper customer segmented dashboard in our upcoming videos.